a lot of the voters out there wanting to know is what exactly does a Kerr County attorney or any county attorney do?
It's a pretty varied job. I think you could break it down into two sections. We do criminal prosecution. We prosecute misdemeanors, which are jailable offenses that are the less serious of the criminal offenses.
And would that be like traffic tickets?
Well, traffic tickets are usually in justice court or municipal court,
Okay.
and they don't come to our court unless they get appealed from that court.
Okay.
We're at that point.
Learn something new today?
De novo, meaning that they get a new trial if they appeal it to county court at law.
Gotcha.
So we do some of those, but most of the time ours are the more serious misdemeanors like driving while intoxicated, theft by check, criminal mischief, assault, family violence. We get a lot of family disputes that turn violent, and those come to our court.
Well, I was going to say, recently I had a chance to meet with the folks at Hill Country Cares, and I think they said last year alone there was over 1,600 cases of family assault cases that they personally had handled. I can't imagine how many you have probably handled here in this office.
That sounds about right. You know, in the 20 years I've been doing this kind of work, I couldn't tell you, but it's been many, many thousands of cases of that particular kind of offense. That, driving while intoxicated, and theft are really probably the bulk of our cases. And then you get things like evading arrest, resisting arrest. You know, there's a whole penal code full of criminal offenses, most of which, at least the first time you commit them, are misdemeanors. Right. Some of the offenses, if you continue to offend, they can be enhanced to felonies, and then it turns over to the district attorney's office. Theft, for instance, if you have multiple convictions for theft, even if it's a Class C theft, which would be below $50, those can be enhanced because those theft is considered a crime of moral turpitude.
Okay.
And then, of course, that's the criminal side, and then the civil side is a whole. We're really advisors to all the elected officials, which means that we can do everything from assisting the Commissioner's Court in determining who owns the dirt under Flat Rock Lake, which was recently in Commissioner's Court,
really? To
pursuing an environmental health lawsuit against a property owner.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a number of those. To assisting the auditor on issues having to do with a bond issue. We do also a lot of advising on when the county goes out for bids on something. There are particular processes that you have to follow. You have to put notice in a certain format at a certain time in particular publications. It, for instance, usually has to be published in a newspaper of general circulation in the county or in the location.
So there's a lot of rules and regulations that you're our guardian angel. You're our white knight, so to speak, because you watch over the county's funds. You watch over what could happen if we were to sign a piece of paper that one of the commissioners was wanting to do, and if it wasn't legally written or correctly written, it could put a loophole. Is that basically you are really our guardian angel for the county?
Well, for the money, I like to describe that part of the county attorney's job as the guardian of the county's checkbook. A lot of times that also involves being a helper to the Commissioner's Court. Right. But if the Commissioner's Court wanted to do something that wasn't appropriate, then I would actually have to oppose them, because my job is really to guard the money and to guard the process, not to guard the people.
Exactly.
Now, usually, since we have good county officials, they're going to do things the right way, and so I'm helping guard them as well.
Exactly. We've got about 30 seconds before we go into break. What are we going to do today? Can you kind of describe what happens on a day?
Today is our regular court day. On Tuesdays, we have arraignments and pleas and conversations with the defense attorneys about their cases. So we'll be going upstairs and going
to the courtroom.
Go to the courtroom.
That sounds fascinating. This is the showcase. We're going to take a fast commercial break. When we come back, we'll finish up our interview with the Kerr County Attorney, Ilse Bailey. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the showcase. I'm your host today, Kurt Keller, and once again, I'm at the Kerr County Attorney's Office, Ilse Bailey. Ilse, thank you very much for showing us around in the courtroom and kind of giving us an insight of what you do. Now, during the commercial break, we chatted a little bit, and you were telling me about some of the environmental things that you do, and I had no idea that the county attorney gets involved in environmental studies.
Well, every County has an environmental department to one extent or another, but Kerr County, I guess because we have such a great environment, and it's an environment that that's what we present.
My wife and I call it the quality of life here in Kerr.
Exactly. So it's really important that we preserve that, and we have an excellent environmental health department right now. They're very proactive about going out and fixing problems that have been problems for a long, long time. And for instance, there was basically a landfill on 70 acres owned by a lady who was an absentee property owner that's been just a dumping place for 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
And we had our department go out there, start citing the owner for not getting it cleaned up, and they've actually gotten that whole area cleaned up in the space of a couple of years. And we have to work a lot with local providers as well, because what we did in those cases, in order to avoid the cost of cleanup on us, we bid out the cleanup, and then people will come that are salvage folks and come in and say, well, you know, I can make money on taking that stuff away, so I'll clean it up, I won't charge the county, and then they make their money, we get it cleaned up at no expense to the taxpayer, and the environment is preserved and protected for us and our children and our visitors.
Fantastic. Now I want to switch gears just a little bit, folks. I want to know about Ilse Bailey. Tell me your background. That's something we haven't touched on today at all. Tell me your background, how you got involved in being a Kerr County attorney, and what you like about the job.
Well, I've been licensed attorney for 26 years. After I'd been licensed a couple of years, I worked for the Texas Supreme Court for a year.
Impressive.
And with a private firm in Austin for a couple of years. And my husband, he's a physician and was going to be working for a clinic in San Antonio, and so I went to San Antonio looking for a job, and the district attorney there offered me a job, and I had no intention of doing criminal work at all. But I just fell in love with it, the criminal work and the civil side of it. It's so gratifying to be able to feel like you're doing something that's worthwhile, something that helps the community, and is in something that's in the big picture, helping everyone. So I've been doing that pretty much that ever since. I'm a seventh-generation Texan. I was educated in Texas. I've lived in Texas my whole professional life. And I love living in Kerrville. We've been here 19 years, and I've been pretty much doing prosecution of one kind and another here since we moved here. I've worked with the city as well as for the county, so I have a unique perspective on how those two work and how they work together.
Right. I did a little bit of my homework. Hopefully I did it correctly, Mom. You were appointed, is that right, to this position, or what, were
yes.
you elected?
Well,
you were appointed, right?
Yes, I'm running to be elected, but
Okay.
I was appointed to the position in November when the previous county attorney was appointed district judge. The position was then vacated, and so I was appointed by the commissioners to fill the vacancy until the election.
So you were the chosen one, as they say. Well, that's fantastic, and I'm sure your due diligence as being an attorney over the years has really helped you do that. I understand you also do a lot of pro bono work for children's advocacy centers, is that right?
I do. I feel very strongly about certain aspects of my job. I get really involved with the Kids Advocacy Place that provides for forensic interviews with children that are victims of sexual violence. I've been really involved with Hill Country Cares, used to be the Crisis Council, who provide services for women who've been victims of abuse. I recently volunteered with the state of Texas to represent one of the children in the El Dorado FLDS polygamy lawsuit or
Wow.
investigation.
Right.
Just things that I feel like it's important to give back to the community that has given me so much, and give back to the state that's given me so much.
Well, it sounds like you greatly have.